Hold on him, extort shit, bully the flow on him.
They did it, man, and it's so beautiful. Marlboro Arrivals has successfully captured the feeling that I've been missing since Chinese New Year in 2017. Before that other game crashed out and burned, it was one of my favorite experiences in gaming. From the beautiful Disney-esque designs making not only each character stand out with looks alone, but all of their personality really showed in their gameplay. Not just design, an extremely diverse cast with all different playstyles. There was legitimately a character for everyone. It was the perfect amalgamation, and although it didn't do much with the story, a promise that they failed to deliver with the second game, if you would even call it that, as that update failed to deliver on every single mark. To say that it was a letdown would be an enormous understatement. Like, this game won Game of the Year, and it came out of nowhere and shook the entire industry. And now if you ask anyone about the series, nobody cares or even knows, because all of the self-harm Blizzard had done unto itself as well as this young series. I really can't believe it's almost been 10 years since I would turn on my PS4 and queue up some games with my friends after college. And even though I was a hard-stuck Diamond, May, Bastion, Pharah main, there really hasn't been anything that has really filled that void. Sure, there are a ton of shooters, a lot of big ones, and I don't think I have to name them, and even for a while during the pandemic I remember loading up COD Mobile with my friends, but it wasn't like Overwatch. Nothing really filled that gaping hole. Until about 2 weeks ago.
Marlboro Arrivals.
Marvel Rivals is out, and it is what I've been missing this whole time.
That's what we've been waiting for!
It's what we wanted all along!
I really feel like I'm playing Overwatch again, except this time it's backed by the power of Marvel and Disney. So kind of similar to Activision, but way more money and way more evil. But that's not the point of this video. The point is to gush about how great this game is, and man, I am very excited to see what this game brings. It's definitely an Overwatch clone, but it takes most of the good parts about it and really tosses a Marvel coat of paint all over it, and if they play it right, I really do think that this can be the next big thing. It's a team shooter with a few game modes, and right now its main game modes are two that you've probably already played. One is King of the Hill, or Hold the Objective, and the other is Push the Payload, just like in TF2, except this time you're doing it with your favorite Marvel characters. And what a great idea, because not only do they have such a vast roster already, 33 at launch, that's over 10 more than what Overwatch had. They really have not scratched the surface. You've got a bunch of these big hitters like Wolverine and Iron Man, Hulk and the best character that Marvel has ever made, Spider-Man, already in the game, yet you are still missing a bunch of favorites, like half of the X-Men aren't even here. Where's my boy Cyclops or Colossus? Cable even? You know Mystique is just gonna play like Spy. Other cool characters like Daredevil and Silver Surfer, even Blade. Miles Morales, especially since he now has the ability to make swords out of his venom, he could be an interesting Spider-Man clone. Like I was saying, the possibilities are endless, and even the skins that they could have. They have so many years of history to go through, not only for the MCU, but from the comics and animated shows. And if they could have some of these skins match the style of the shows and movies that they're from, like how cool would it be to see a cel-shaded X-Men 97 Wolverine right next to an X-Men Evolution Storm? And then in that same lineup you have the Into the Spider-Verse Penny Parker right next to a Sam Raimi Black Suit Spider-Man. I'm telling you, the possibilities are endless. They already have some suits from the MCU, but it's pretty obvious who my most wanted character would be in this game, but if it's not, it's gotta be the Green Goblin. And you know if they put him in, they've got to give him the Bully Defoe skin.
Hello, my dear.
That would be an insta-cop. But speaking of buying skins, I guess this is a good segue to talk about some of the not so good aspects of the game. Like, skins I feel like are a little overpriced. Honestly, something like this should cost maybe $6 or $7 at max. But to be spending almost $15 on cosmetics is really pushing it. And I know this game is free to play, but making a purchase like that for a cosmetic still has me gritting my teeth. So unless it's really sick skin and for a character that I play, I feel like I'm not going to be buying a lot. They did have some things on sale for the game's launch, but I wonder how frequently these sales are going to be. Not to advocate for loot boxes, but I like how in Overwatch, every level you get a chance to unlock something new. Even if there were duplicates, you'd get money for those dupes, which you could use to buy skins or cosmetics. You didn't have to buy anything, and you could technically unlock everything just through leveling up and getting lucky. My other complaints are going to have to be with some of the gameplay, because some characters just feel way better than other characters. Like Hela is hella broken. And Hawkeye does so much damage, he's just Hanzo all over again, especially when they're 0-7 and refuse to switch. Some characters make zero sense, like why can Iron Fist fly? Why does he have regenerative health? And why doesn't Wolverine? I also think that the team-up abilities could be a little better, let alone make a little more sense. Like, I love how Magneto and Scarlet Witch have a special ability when they are both selected, but why doesn't Storm and Wolverine have something like that, since they both are X-Men? Like, Star-Lord only gets powered up with Adam Warlock and Mantis, which is great, but he should also get something with Groot and Rocket. I don't really care too much, but when they have some random canon abilities already, like Squirrel Girl and Spider-Man getting a sticky bomb because they dated in the comics, or Hawkeye and Black Widow getting abilities because they're agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., it probably would be a lot to keep track of, and it would heavily influence team comp because people would try to get as many passives as possible, so it could keep the meta interesting. I'm not a game balance expert, so if that's not a good idea, I don't know, let me know in the comments, schmo. I'm gonna go through 5 heroes and villains that I would love to be in this game, and I had to make a completely separate list for the X-Men alone because there are so many X-Men, so I got 3 lists for ya. With the first being heroes. Number 1, Miles Morales. Give me my Spider-Man. Maybe a heavier Spider-Man that has more projectile variation or more venom-based melee. Dude can make swords now, like I was saying earlier. Number 2, Silver Surfer. This character would just be so awesome to see fight no matter what role he's in. 3, Daredevil. They could give him his TV show suit, and he could hear his enemies a lot better than other champs. 4, Mr. Fantastic. I think that eventually they're going to add all the members of the Fantastic Four, because Doctor Doom seems to be the main villain in this series, but Reed Richards would be the most interesting because he'd be crazy range tank or DPS, and all I know is that the Luffy mods are going to go crazy. 5, Ghost Rider. Not only be one of the most aesthetically pleasing characters, as well as using his motorcycle to ride on walls and vanquish enemies, but just give me the Nicolas Cage skin and we're good. And for the villains, obviously I would want characters like MF Doom and Thanos to be in the game, but I'm pretty sure that they are already going to be. So for right now, I'd really like number 1, MODOK. He would just be funny no matter what role he plays, and they can give him the meme skin from his best movie appearance. Number 2 would be Carnage. He could be like a glass tank version of Venom, higher damage output and less life, and has projectiles just like in the comics. Number 3, Blackheart. I think a scary tank that could summon demons, also be a promotion for Marvel vs. Capcom 4. Speaking of 4, number 4, Doc Ock. It's just a character that I already think is going to be in the game, because along with Harry's surfboard, you can find Doc Ock claws just down the hall. And for number 5, if it wasn't obvious already, the character I would want would be the Green Goblin. I think he would be a flying DPS or a tank, and I just need that Raimi skin. And now for the X-Men characters. 1, Cyclops, definitely a DPS with big ass lasers. 2, Gambit, I could see him being DPS or support, with the gimmick being his cards having different effects. Number 3 would be Beast, a support tank that can crawl on walls like Rocket. He could use his science to give buffs to his teams. Number 4 would be Mystique. Like I said earlier, she could have similar abilities to the Spy in TF2. 5 would be Nightcrawler. He would probably be really annoying to fight because he'd be a wall-crawling, teleporting DPS for sure. Number 6, Sentinel. Sure, another Marvel vs. Capcom rep, but they could convert his moveset from that game, and I think he'd be a very interesting tank. Number 7, Colossus. He'd be an aggro tank. His ultimate could give him a huge amount of armor. Number 8, Cable. They're eventually going to make Marvel vs. Capcom 4, so they've got to get fans re-familiar with him, if not for that movie already. Number 9, Apocalypse. Obvious tank, but he would be insane if he could be in this game. Number 10, give me Professor Xavier. I don't care if he uses his mental powers or if he lays the beat down in the wheelchair. I think he would just be a really fun champ to have in the game. Obviously, there's a lot of potential here, and I'm just going off the top of my head, but who would you want to be in the game? What game modes or maps or skins do you want to be in the game? Let me know. Thanks for watching.
Hey, I think the doctor needs a doctor. Wait for me.
Mr. Dickovich, you know, all I got is this 20 to the rest of the week.
Sorry, doesn't pay the rent. And don't try to sneak past me. I have ears like a cat and eyes like a rodent.
Thanks, Mr. Dickovich.